Hey, what is up, everyone? Welcome to the Crack House Chronicles. I am Donnie, your host, and with me is a man that says, when one door closes, another one opens, and that's probably how prisons work. It's Dale.
Yeah, I'm sure a lot of buzzing and banging going on in prisons, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
That is unknown territory for me.
Yeah. I've always thought that I would probably do okay in prison until the first night of showers when my temporary tattoos washed off.
Yeah.
And after that,
your coolness is gone, bro.
Yeah.
All your innocence just went down the drain.
Yeah, no doubt about it.
Oh, man. So how you doing, man?
I am great, bud. How are you?
I'm all right, I guess. I'm trying to stay safe during this mess.
It's a mess.
Yeah. Oh, man.
I hope everybody else is staying safe out there. And
We in our secret underground bacteria-free recording facility today.
Exactly. You got any shout-outs for us, Dale?
I do, man. I know we said before that you don't really have to do donations or reviews or anything for us to give you a shout-out, because we give shout-outs to everybody just because we really appreciate everybody. But today we do have a few special ones, and it will knock you to the top of the list. So I want to give a big shout-out to Mary Feltz. Thanks so much for your donation to our PayPal on our website. That is very much appreciated. Thank you so much. We had a couple people give us great reviews. Tigress413, thank you so much for the review. Is much appreciated. And Storm Sage, thank you for your review too. It really means a lot to us to have people go out of their way to spend all that time typing in a few letters and saying thanks.
And that was Apple Podcast review.
Yeah.
So that's pretty
really
awesome.
Cool. And one more. I got a buddy of mine who just found us. He lives up in Nova Scotia. His name is Joe Hollery. And I just want to tell him thanks for checking us out and then passing on the good word of the Crack House Chronicles.
Exactly. And we're thinking about all those people up in Nova Scotia. There was a bad shooting up there this week.
Yeah, man. He was telling me about that, and he's pretty distraught over it because that doesn't happen up there.
Yeah.
And really think about you guys, and it's just some bad stuff. So
Yeah.
The guy was dressed as a police officer, pulling people over and shooting them. It was just some sad stuff.
Just hanging in there, guys. We're thinking about you.
Just for the record, the Canadian Royal Mounted Police are not always on horses dressed as Dudley Do-Right. I was corrected.
You found that out, huh?
All right.
I used to watch Dudley Do-Right. Pretty good cartoon.
Yeah, I was always a Snidely Whiplash fan myself.
All right, Dale, we're going to get into this week's episode.
All righty, man. What we got?
We have got we've got a shooting, and this is a grocery store shooting. And this takes place here in our own home state of North Carolina. And it is in the town of Windsor. Windsor, North Carolina. And it is in the county of Bertie County.
That's not to be confused with Windsor Castle, which is in London.
Yeah, this is Windsor, the town of Windsor. And yeah, this is a very rural part of North Carolina.
Yeah, very. It's actually one of the largest counties in North Carolina.
Land-wise.
Yes, landmass. But
as
the
far
population is pretty small.
Very small.
Considered. 'Cause I looked up. It's pretty large by land, but small by people. Even I thought our county was not very populated, but we're way, way, way more populated than they are in this county.
Windsor is the county seat of Bertie
County. Yeah.
And Windsor, the town of Windsor, the population, the 2000 census, there was only 2,200 people living in the town of Windsor at that time.
That ain't very many at all, is it?
No, And for the whole county, it's just a little over 21,000 for the entire county.
And by comparison, I think Cleveland County, which where we are, there's close to 99,000 people in this county.
Yeah.
Which is really surprising when I looked that up, because I didn't know.
Because we've got a lot of rural areas here in this county.
Right.
So I cannot imagine how remote some places are.
Right.
But anyway,
they spread out.
This murder takes place in the town of Windsor in Bertie County. And Bertie County is in the northeastern part of North Carolina, out toward the coast.
Yep.
And this takes place in a supermarket called Below. Not to be confused with Bilo.
Right. I thought it was a typo at first, I have to admit.
It is Below.
You confused it already.
I am confused. It is Below, B-E-L-O. Now,
which is kind of strange to me, but okay.
Yeah. I guess they want to think their prices are below everyone else's.
Or we just have I'll go with that.
But
we be lower than everybody else. I don't know.
But I don't know if, this being such a small town, I don't know if this was the only supermarket in that town. It probably was.
Could be.
2,000 people. They might have had a little drugstore here and there, but
right.
This may have been the only supermarket there.
And this is in 93?
On June 6th, 1993.
Right.
That's when this takes place. And Dale, this is when 6 employees at the Below in Windsor were tied up before 3 of them were shot and killed. And this happened at around 6 p.m. when the store manager, Grover Lee Cecil Jr., but everybody called him Bud.
Yeah, this was a Sunday too, by the way.
This was on a Sunday at 6 p.m. He locked the doors.
Yep. Like I said, made his rounds, make sure nobody was in the store, getting ready to close up for the day, getting the cleaning crew coming. They was having a cleaning crew this day.
Yeah, he was checking the store, make sure, I think he went up and down the aisles and went down by the aisles, make sure everybody was...
Tell everybody we're closing, you need to get your stuff and go to the front and check out, please.
Yep.
I'm assuming. I wasn't there.
Yeah, I'm assuming. I've been in stores when they've done that before.
Yeah, either over a loudspeaker or something, but I don't know.
Yeah, so...
Maybe he was the loudspeaker.
Could have been. And there was just one other store employee there, and her name was Joyce Reason.
Right.
She was a 36-year-old cashier.
Right.
Now, Dale, there was supposed to be a cleaning crew there that night of 4 people.
Yeah, it's coming in to wax the floors, I believe.
Yeah, like I said, this is on a Sunday evening. So I guess, I don't know how often they wax the floors. I don't know how often they done that. So, there were going to be 4 extra people in the store that night.
Right.
Taking care of this floor cleaning.
It's just a bad day to be cleaning floors, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. These other 4 people were Johnny Rankins Jr., Thomas Hardy, Sylvester Welch, which everyone called Tony, and Jasper Hardy Jr. And Jasper and Thomas Hardy were brothers.
Right.
Okay. And we'll talk about that a little bit later on. Like I said, Bud locked the doors at around 6 p.m. And the cleaning crew was already in there. And at some point, a man emerged from inside the store.
Yeah.
And Bud just thought that...
Here we've locked somebody in here.
Yeah.
I missed somebody.
And he needed to get out.
Right.
But this man produced a gun.
Yeah, 45 caliber handgun. Big one.
Yeah. And he instructed Bud and Joyce, I think, a cloth sack.
Yeah.
And wanted it filled with money.
Right.
And I think it was about $3,000.
Yeah, it was the end of the day, so he was getting everything they had from that day. And I guess since it's a Sunday in small town, that's probably a pretty good haul for that, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And I don't know the hours of the store. Then I'm assuming they probably opened it after lunch and closed it around 6.
Yeah, I don't know. All I saw was they closed at 6 p.m. Yeah.
Yeah, he got all the cash and the money orders for that day. And he instructed Bud and Joyce to head toward the back of the store.
Right.
Where they found 3 of the other crew members that were going to clean floors.
Yep.
And he had them head back toward the back of the store into I think it was almost like I've heard that it was the meat section, or it could have been an employee section of the back of the store, like a separate room off from the store.
Yeah, probably like a storage right off from the meat market, I would think.
Yeah.
Somewhere in there.
And Bud was heading toward the back of the store when he saw the other employees, and the other employees, well, we're just going to say the ones that survived, said the look on Bud's face was just...
They had a weird look. Yeah, they're weird emotional look.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they didn't see the gun at first.
Exactly, because the
They
gun...
didn't realize what was going on. They just knew they had a black fellow with them that they didn't recognize.
Yeah, and he was walking behind them with the gun.
Right.
And evidently, this gunman knew that there was another person in the store.
Yeah.
It was unaccounted for.
Right. He knew there was another cleaning crew member that wasn't with him. So this dude knew what he was doing.
Yeah, he had scoped it out, definitely. So evidently he was hiding somewhere in the store. He had, sometime during the day, he just hung out.
Yep.
And just hung in.
Well, he knew the store because apparently he walked Bud and Joyce down the pet aisle since he gathered up some dog leashes and stuff on his way back to wherever he was taking them.
Yeah. So he had this planned out.
Yeah, so he'd been in there a while and had planned it out.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of scary.
So when they got back to the back of the room, I guess that some point they had found the other crew member.
Yeah.
The other floor cleaner. and he had them start tying each other up with the dog leashes and duct tape that he had.
Yeah, he brought it with him, supposedly.
He had duct tape with him. So he instructed them to start tying their legs up and tying each other up.
Yep.
And after that, he instructed them to lie on the floor in 3 stacks of 2.
Yep, stacked them up. You'd think, boy, we've cooperated, we've given him the money, we've tied ourselves up, we can't tell. You'd think, well, I think we're good now. He's just going to take the money and run. But that's not what he had on his mind.
No.
They said that he also said, I hope God will forgive me for what I'm about to do. And then there was 3 gunshots. Okay, so what I heard or what I read was that Joyce and Bud were both shot in the head. Tony was shot, and I'm thinking it was in the back, but I'm not really sure about that one. And not Thomas Hardy, but Johnny Rankins was shot. And Johnny Rankins was killed, Joyce was killed, and Bud was killed. So in my mind, I'm thinking that it was also reported that Bud and Joyce sustained head wounds, so they were both shot in the head. And then Johnny Rankins was shot in the back. So I figured that Joyce and Bud were in 2 different stacks, both taking headshots, and then Johnny Rankins would have been like shot in the back. So as he was shooting, like bang, bang, and then to the third as he went to, I'm assuming to his right. It didn't say if he's right-handed or left-handed, but I don't know in my head the way I'm thinking the stacks was. It would be that, but I'm not sure. That's just what I was thinking.
Yeah.
But he only shot 3 shots in his gun jam, so he couldn't continue shooting. But 3 people were killed. Tony Welch was also shot in the back, so I was just assuming that he was underneath Johnny Rankins, who got shot in the back and killed.
Yeah.
So if he was shot, well, I think he got shot in the back. Johnny for sure. I'm not positive about Tony, but I know he did sustain a gunshot wound. But so I figured, since he was shot in the back, the through would go definitely into the back or so of the other guy.
Mm-hmm.
Now but I don't know. Once you think about it, I guess maybe the headshots could have been together, but where would the third shot get went?
It just depends on how they were laying, I guess.
Yeah, to me that it makes sense to me in my way of thinking. The way I picture it is that Joyce and Bud were on top of separate stacks, and Johnny Rankin, was on top of the third stack. That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah. The 3 that were killed were on top.
That makes sense to me. Now
it would make sense,
because they're going to get the most damage for sure.
Yeah, and he was carrying a .45 caliber.
Yeah,
which would do a lot of damage.
Yeah, and it jammed, they say it jammed, but who knows? Maybe only had 3 bullets.
Yeah,
I don't know. I mean, only one guy that was unharmed after the final thing, but. I mean, I know they were survivors, but really, unless he was just really making a big deal and saying, damn, my gun jammed, how would you really know?
Yeah.
I mean, and maybe that's why he stacked them up that way. Maybe he only had 3 bullets, and maybe that was the reason for the stacks. Otherwise, why would he just shoot away?
Yeah, just lay them out and start.
So that whole stacking up thing really is a weird detail to me, and I thought, well, maybe he only had 3 bullets, and he had a .45, so in his mind, that was going to take care of business, and probably it should have.
Yeah. I don't think he had that much ammo.
So yeah, and we'll get into some other theories too, but we'll bring that one back up. But yeah, that's my way of thinking. I think they were, but I really didn't see anywhere where it said specifically how they were arranged in those 3 stacks.
That would make more sense, especially the ones on the bottom surviving,
right,
and the ones on top just being killed instantly. Yeah, that makes sense to me.
Now, either whether we run out of ammo or whether the gun jammed, either way, he wasn't done.
No, because either when the gun run out of bullets or it jammed.
Whichever one happened.
And he left that little room and went to some type of kitchen or...
He probably went in the meat market.
Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking. Now, what I read was he got it from somewhere in the store, but hell, if they're right beside the meat market, there's plenty of knives in there.
He went in there and got a knife.
A big butcher knife.
Yeah. And he came back.
Yes.
And that's when he slashed Thomas Hardy's throat and started stabbing him in the back.
Yeah. From witness accounts, he said that he had asked him, are you going to tell the cops, who robbed the store? And he poorly said no. And he said, well, I don't believe you, and started violently stabbing him in the back and in the throat. So much, though, that he broke the knife blade off.
Yeah.
And that's pretty damn rough.
Yeah. Yeah, that's some hard stabbing right there.
And that was Thomas Hardy.
Yeah.
Who was stabbed.
Throat slashed and knife broke off in the back.
Right.
Can't even imagine.
So then he looked over at his brother, who was Jasper Hardy, and asked him the same question. And he said, well, I really didn't get a good enough look at anybody to tell anybody much of anything. And he said, well, big man, I guess the day's your lucky day. I'm going to let you live, and you're going to be the hero. So he was unharmed. And later he told accounts of how he felt the impact of when the guy was on top of him was shot. He could feel the impact of him getting shot. But as far as being wounded in any kind of way, besides mentally, he was unscathed.
Physically, he was fine.
Yes.
Yeah. Sylvester Welch, the one they called Tony.
Yes.
He was the one that was shot in the back. The gunman left.
Yeah, after that, he got his money bag and just left.
He just left. It had been reported, too, that Tony Welch, there was so much blood there. It was so much blood that it actually loosened the duct tape.
Yeah.
It caused the duct tape to come loose.
Got a little slimy, I guess.
Yeah. And he managed, I don't know how long it took, but he managed to crawl his way to the front of the store.
Inch by inch.
Inch by inch. I mean, he'd been shot in the back.
Yeah. And even in small grocery stores, that's a pretty good ways from the back of the store. Usually the meat market is, or, in the very back of the store up to the front, to the cashiers.
And he managed to crawl his way, leaving a blood trail to the front of the store. And he managed to call 911. Mm-hmm. And Dale, we have that 911 call right here.
Okay.
Your attention, brought to your rescue. Checking for traffic. We have 1033 traffic. 1033 traffic at Speedways in Windsor. Subject has been shot. To your attention, Lordton Rescue. Checking for 1033 traffic. 1033 traffic. You're needed in Windsor at Speedways. Brought to your rescue needs your assistance. 10-4, be advised, East Care's down. They've been trying to send them by ground.
10-4, you probably can go ahead and try Nightingale. Get both team hospital to do it.
10-4, can you advise about how many you think we got?
I think we have at least 3 more in the building, I'm not sure.
10-4, are they out yet, or are they still inside?
Be advised that what we have left in the store, DOA.
10-4.
The gunman had told the victims that he was a former police officer.
Yes.
And he had been fired.
After a drug deal, it went
bad drug deal or something.
But who knows?
Yeah, I don't know. And
that really doesn't make sense to me, but he's the one that got the gun, so that's what we're going with.
Exactly. And they managed to get a composite drawing of him.
Yeah. He's a black male, slender build with a medium complexion, 6 foot to 6'2", 175 to 200 pounds is what it was the description I found.
Yeah. And
carrying a .45 caliber handgun.
It said he had a haircut. It looked like a military style haircut.
Right. So it must have been like a high and tight or tight fade up the side or something.
Yeah.
But there is a composite drawing, and we'll put that on our socials.
Yeah, we have several pictures we're going to post on our social media accounts so everybody can look at this.
So when the cops got there, man, you know it's going to be some kind of scene, especially for such a small community. They did find bullet casings, so they'll tell you there was an automatic. They found fingerprints and reportedly found some DNA and then some shoe prints. And they found a couple different shoe prints, but one of them was said to be one of the EMT workers, so it was thrown out. But they did find shoe prints, fingerprints, DNA, and some bullet casings. And all that stuff was matched up to former police, former military, and any of that stuff, and none of it's ever been matched up to anything.
They're thinking, too, that the knife breaking off in the back of
he took
Johnny Rankin's. Yeah, if the handle broke or the knife broke, is a possibility he got cut.
Oh, yeah.
It could have injured his hand and maybe bled too. But we don't know what DNA was found.
But hell, if it was in the... Well, yeah, he might have been dripping going out the door. I was going to say in the middle of that pond of blood back there, it'd be hard to separate. But, yeah, dripping out the door. Possibly, yeah, because it wasn't said what DNA was found, but they did find some.
Yeah.
But I guess it still hasn't matched up, and it's really hard to believe that even if they've retried it now and it still hasn't come up, that this guy was not, I wouldn't say, well, I don't want to say for sure, but in my belief, I would think he's not former police or former military, because they'd have all that on record, at least fingerprints.
You think, yeah.
Maybe not DNA, but they would have fingerprints.
Absolutely. It was later reported, Dale, later that evening, that there was a vehicle screaming out of town.
Yep.
With Maryland license plates.
Yeah, white car.
Yeah.
Reported there were 2 men in this car, but I don't know. It's just, that's kind of a weird. Oh yeah, I saw a white car leaving with Maryland plates today, but it's possible, because 6 o'clock. This is in June, so it's not going to get dark till around 9 or so in North Carolina, around that time of the year. So it's possible, that somebody saw a strange car, but that doesn't mean it's connected, but doesn't mean it's not either.
Mm-hmm. And, what gets me is, this guy staking this place out. Did he just come upon this place randomly, and it looks like a good place to make a hit?
Yeah, that is one of the theories, that it was just random. He just come on and kind of staked out the store, or took it over and planned it out and then done it. But I don't know. That is one of the main theories out there. Mm-hmm. But I don't buy that. You just out of the hell. But they were saying maybe he was former military, but I just said I don't think he is. But there's a lot of military type bases and stuff in that part of the state.
It is, out toward the eastern part of North Carolina.
A lot. And I looked today, and there's several. Not of them are really big bases. Some of them are just smaller places, but there's a lot of that type stuff around. So it's possible. And if he was stationed here, or he was here and then lived in Maryland, it could be a possibility that he'd been through there before. But I don't think it's random myself.
But they said his demeanor the whole time, he was
calm and collected. He showed no anger or anything like that. He was just laid back. Yeah,
it's like he'd done that before.
Yeah, he didn't.
I mean, could he have been a serial killer that nobody knows anything about, and the money was just a extra?
Could be.
Because why not just rob the place and go?
Yeah, and if he was if he's looking for the money, he could have robbed the place and go. And if he was just hell bent on killing people, he could just walked in the door and start blasting. Mm-hmm. All this intricate, getting dog leashes and the duct tape and taking them back there and stacking them up and shooting them. I don't know, unless it's back to the ammo question, but I don't know. Yeah, that's a good theory. I hadn't thought about that.
Yeah, but $3,000 in '93 is a little over $5,000 today.
Yeah, I mean that's not a lot, but people got killed for $20.
Yeah, but yeah. He had a motive to kill somebody too, I think.
Right.
And rob too. I think. I don't know which one that was.
No, and
set out to do.
Another theory is that maybe he was just targeting a certain person that was there. But if that was the case, it would probably have to either be Bud or Joyce, because the cleaning crew wouldn't be in there on a regular time. And if he just
and they're not there all the time,
right? And I'm sure, I don't know how often you do this kind of stuff in the grocery store, because I don't work in one. I did about a long time ago, but I still couldn't tell you how often you do the floors. But I don't know, and there's nothing in any of them's background to say they had crossed paths before, to say that maybe he was just targeting someone and then killed everybody to cover his tracks. So yeah, that thing we were talking about earlier about the ammo, I've seen a lot of people were talking about that they didn't think it was an ex-cop or anything, because they would always carry an extra clip. But hell, what would that matter? It wouldn't matter if he had an extra clip if his gun jammed and he only shot 3 times. He could pop, he would still have ammunition in his thing, but maybe he didn't want to take time to unjam the gun, whatever that consists of, taking it apart, taking the slide off and all that. But I still, would you go in order somewhere to kill people if you only had 3 bullets? I mean, I don't know. This is a really strange
Maybe that's
case.
why he stacked them up, and stacked them up in stacks of 3, and just he knew that 45 was going to go all the way through.
That's what I'm thinking, man. I don't really think that it. I don't know.
1 shot per stack to be done.
Yeah, 3 shots done. But now maybe the survivor told him that he said he jammed his gun up, but I don't know that for a fact. So I'm going. My theory is that he only had 3 bullets. He went in there to rob them up. He had a 45. He knew it was a damn big gun, and he stacked them up to be done, like you said. 3 shots. I'm done. I've got the money. I'm out.
Mm-hmm.
But it's all just theory because nobody knows really.
Now Jasper Hardy, he was the one that wasn't hurt at all.
Yes,
he didn't suffer any injuries at all. But like I said, but he was questioned extensively on this.
Well, I'm sure.
Why you? Why are you not hurt? Why didn't he do anything to you?
And I'm sure he thinks the same thing now. I don't know. I thought about that at first, but unless you really hate your brother, what would you be involved? You go, okay, I don't know. That one's.
I mean, you lay in there and see your brother's throat be slashed and a knife broke off in his back.
Yeah.
Why would you? Yeah.
And it's only lucky that he wasn't killed too.
Yeah.
He was in the stack,
Mm-hmm.
So it's not like he was completely out of harm's way the whole time. So I don't think he's involved.
Yeah.
I'm not an investigator, but I play one on TV.
Yeah, we play one on the podcast.
Here you go.
That's it. They've had memorials for this shooting in recent past, but Jasper and some of the other survivors, they don't go. It's just too much.
Oh yeah.
For them to even.
I'm sure it's very traumatic, man.
Yeah.
You see 2 people that you work with and it's just shot in the head.
I would never go outside again. I mean, I can't imagine.
Every time you'd go in a grocery store, that's all you'd think about.
Yeah. And I don't think the Belo is a grocery store anymore. I think it's a community building now. But they do have a plaque inside the door acknowledging this, this event and the people who lost their lives that day.
So really, they don't have any leads, and never have they?
No, none
There's
at
like
all.
even a $30,000 reward up to this day. It's still active, and they still haven't found out anything, which is really shocking.
Yeah, this June the 6th will be 27 years.
Yeah, 27.
So yeah, but if anybody has any information at all, you can contact your local Crime Stoppers, or you can contact the Bertie County Sheriff's Department here in North Carolina and leave a tip.
Yeah, so this is a pretty mysterious case. I mean, it's got it all, I guess, robbery, murder, shooting, tied up, strange, stacked up. And I've thought about this a good bit. I can't make heads or tails of it. It don't make sense to me. There's what's the motive besides the money?
Yeah, even the sheriff, Sheriff Holly, he was even quoted to say it, and he said, things like that, you never forget. You never forget. It's the worst thing I've seen in approximately 31 years.
Oh, I'm sure it was just awful. What a mess.
Yeah.
Destroyed all those people's lives, man. Even the ones that weren't killed.
Mm-hmm. And I know they left families. Joyce Reason, the cashier that was killed, she had twin daughters. And Grover Bud Cecil, he had a family. So, it's a sad situation. And still unsolved today.
Yeah, and no answers. That might be the worst part. Well, not the worst part, but no closure on anything. So all you know is what happened and no reason why, or
Yep. All right, Dale. We're gonna wind this up and get out of here, bud.
Alrighty.
All right. We want everyone to be safe, be careful, and always be aware of your surroundings.
Because the next episode could be about you.
This is
the Crack House Chronicles.